Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen podcast hot takes. We haven't really decided a name on this yet. I'm BoredGamer and I'm here with the channel editor, Zin.
Hello.
For BoredGamer. No, I haven't said say hello, Zin. Have I,
But
Zin?
you didn't last time, and I didn't get I didn't really get a proper hello last time. It was just you talking, and then I answered a question.
People like me just talking.
Well, I'll tell you what. You do it on your own. I'll go make a cup of tea or
No.
something.
No. Zin is basically the channel editor, channel aide, and what amounts to my carer. Say hello, Zin.
Hello, Zin.
They are perfect. Everyone has more fun when we do it in an ordered manner, Zin. Today we're talking about a variety of topics, from 3.13 stability to Fleet Week to cameras up my bum to PC building. I think that's probably pretty wide area of effect. So let's start with 3.13 stability problems. So we did a video the other day where I talked about state of the game for 3.13 and that 3.13 was actually pretty good and much better performance and was pretty good stability when we had tried it out originally. Mm-hmm. But it seemed to take a bit of a dive the morning after and potentially the evening, where we've now got, or at least had, some pretty bad stability problems with the client and a bit of server, but mainly the client just crashing and not being able to connect to the game and logins. What was your experience with that, Zin? Because when you were trying to get footage for me, you were like, it's a login server crash.
Yeah, so I hadn't had any problems recently, and because this is when you were streaming on Tuesday, I believe it was just before you went to get a camera up your bum.
More on that later.
Yeah, so I logged in first time, fine, no problems. And then I guess everybody realised that people were playing Star Citizen and all jumped on the servers because I think I can't remember if I had a client crash or a server crash. I think it was a client crash. And then when I went to log in again, I was in a queue. Never been in a queue before.
What, just ever in your entire life?
No, in Star Citizen.
Oh, okay.
So obviously they started adding the thing like you're number one in login server such and such. And every time I've ever seen that message, it's always been your position 1 in login server such and such. But this time it was like your position 46. It's like, oh, okay, never had that before.
Well, I think that's because so many people were crashing and then coming back into the servers. And I think the back-end services were some of them were down and they were crashing because you were having 30Ks, you were having 50K errors, which are
well, yeah,
timeouts.
I don't think I was getting 30Ks. I got 150K, but that was like my second or third time logging in. Mm-hmm. I got in through the queue and it started doing the loading screen. And then that was just doing that for ages, and then it 50K'd.
Because did you have the last year's Fleet Week had very similar issues, but I'm not sure if you experienced them because I think we did it after they'd fixed it.
Yeah, I think we did it after they'd fixed it. Or maybe we'd attempted to do it and just went, nah, this isn't worth it.
But loads of people over the last couple of days have had pretty restrictive, quite aggressive crashes, client problems. And Cloud Imperium are releasing hotfix patches, like they've just released a 3.13.0A1. There's another build that's probably coming later today, I would suspect. And we do know that there's obviously 3.13.x patches. But it's pretty restrictive in its playing at the moment. It's pretty upsetting. How do you think the sort of like community is going to be able to play at the moment? How do you think they're going to be responding to that? Is that sort of like it's Star Citizen, they'll fix it? Or do you think people are going to take it more like, this is unacceptable?
I don't think they'll say it's unacceptable. Mistakes happen, stuff happens. They'll fix it eventually. But yes, you'll get some people who are like, oh no, this is bullshit, blah, 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 fucking Star Citizen. And then you'll get some people like, oh no, Star Citizen's great, they can't do anything wrong.
Well, that's true. You get that, and as soon as a sort of community gets to a certain size, you have people at both ends of the polarized spectrum, and it gets more and more polarized at the tips, even if it's just a single person doing that. But yeah, okay.
But I mean, you've also got people who literally follow Star Citizen, pay money. They give money for ships and stuff. They don't even actually play it yet. They're waiting for it to become a more stable experience.
They've invested in future fun.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good thing, because at the moment we're getting the Alpha UEC notification and warning as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's only the first time you log in out on the PTU. You have to accept a new sort of agreement and notification, which is Star Citizen is an alpha. Basically, the currency, Alpha UEC, is an alpha currency and can be wiped at any sort of time. Bam, it's gone. We reserve the right to wipe assets and everything bought with in-game currency at any time. Now, that's a really good thing in the fact that they've never warned people about that before properly. Well, not on the launcher.
Yeah, so the warning's always been there, but it's kind of in the terms of service.
Yeah, obscured by several layers, and you'd have to look for it. And
Yeah.
a lot of people wouldn't understand that there's going to be wipes and that this currency doesn't really have any value because it can just go anytime. But it also then goes on to say, when we use when we use UEC, when you actually remove the A from Alpha UEC and have UEC, that's permanent currency, basically.
Yeah.
I couldn't work out whether this is a indicator that they're going to have a wipe soon, whether it's good practice just for telling people, look, there can be wipes, beware, which is great if they're just doing that, or if it's people trying to combat people selling Alpha UEC on the grey market and eBay.
Yeah.
It's around £1 for 1 million Alpha UEC.
So it's not an awful lot.
No, but...
You don't, because that's basically like buying music on iTunes and then getting upset that it's gone.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good analogy. It's basically, that is incredibly volatile. It can go at any time. Cloud Imperium cannot help you either. If you have any problems with your transaction, you don't get your stuff. Maybe you can get eBay to help you, but Cloud Imperium can't. Again, other things, black market purchases are against terms of service rather than not covered by terms of service. So black market stuff's you could technically potentially get banned for, or have your account removed. So if you buy an account from eBay or someone else, it technically is owned by the original party. So bear that in mind.
Don't be a dum-dum.
Don't be a dum-dum. But I suspect some people will buy small amounts of Alpha UEC because they're lazy. You lazy boys.
But as long as people understand what it is and what they're buying, if you want to do that, go ahead. It's your money.
I condemn all purchasing of Alpha UEC actions. Right, Fleet Week. So Fleet Week, end of May. Well, some people were saying potentially the 18th of May. So that's a Sunday, I think. That would be odd. I'm thinking Fleet Week will probably start 19th of May earliest. Probably more likely the 22nd or 23rd of May. It was 22nd last year.
I'd prefer it to be after the 21st of May.
Yeah, you would. So would I. So Zin's doing a load of driving lessons. An intensive sort of set of courses the week previous. Do you know much about Fleet Week? Obviously, that was the first sort of time I got you to record stuff in Star Citizen before I had employed you just to make sure you were okay with it.
Well, I know what happened last Fleet Week. Is that typically what happens at Fleet Week? Because as far as I was aware, that was like a first-time thing.
Yeah, it sort of was. So yeah, it technically is typically what happens. So we had a expo. So you could rent ships, a free fly. So people can try Star Citizen for free. We had concept ships, we had new ships and stuff, and we had the UE fleet flying around as well, being pretty, and people messing around, attacking them, stealing their ships and stuff like that. And this year should bring a lot more. Do you think we'll see that and more, or do you think we'll see that a little bit tweaked and updated, or do you think we'll see something completely different?
I mean, it depends what they've got in plan, doesn't it? Like,
It literally does.
Have they managed to improve on what they had, in which case we might see something slightly different. If not, we will probably at least get what we had last time.
Yeah, I mean, we know that they've got better tech now. Obviously, the 3.13 issues that we currently have mirror the server problems and back-end service and login problems that they had last year, which is not great, but hopefully having them now is better than having them during Fleet Week. That's at least something. We do know, like last year, they wanted to have flybys on planet side of the sort of fleet going past, and things like that. So, and obviously they've had Xeno Threat now, which is the sort of start of their dynamic event tech. That should mean that they can do a lot more this year. There's a lot more Star Citizen this year than there was last year for Fleet Week. There's a lot more they can do, a lot more they should do. Some people are thinking that maybe we'll have the Ninetales locked down at the same time, but I do think they're going to separate those events. They don't like to have something crazy like that and a free fly happen at the same time. So what would you like to see at Fleet Week, I suppose, what I want to say? I'd
like to see an improvement on what they had before.
Okay.
I don't know how they do planet flybys. I would assume they'd have them fly close to, like, New Babbage or Lorville.
My expectation would, there would be a viewing area or suggested viewing area where you'd go and then you'd see them do silly things in the sky as they come down from orbit and then get back up to orbit and then come back down and do stuff in the atmosphere. So there'll either be a little area that you stand at on the expo hall at New Babbage, or a suggested viewing area. But we do know that there's been teasers that the expo hall and the main area where this is all sort of set is New Babbage this time. So get on the train, bam, go visit that location when Fleet Week's live. But they might have the same flybys they did around the stations that they did last year. And capital ships were so cool. Like, it was the first time we saw the Idris and the Javelin last year, and that was genuinely cool. I mean, since we've had the Arlington gang mission, which me and Zin haven't done together yet.
No, we haven't managed to do that yet.
So we will do that at some point, especially with the new reputation system, because that would be cool to actually track that. Expect a lot more from Fleet Week this year. At least the same as last year, but we should see a lot more. And we shouldn't have the server problems. It is not appropriate for Cloud Imperium to have the same issues they had last year. If they are not prepared for a big influx of players trying out the game, then they deserve the criticism that they get.
Yeah.
Okay, so say they've got some new ships for Fleet Week, because sometimes we get straight to flyable or concept ships. What type of concept ship, what type of combat ship or vehicle would you like to see added to the game? Not one you think's going to be added, but we're like, I know what I'd really like in Star Citizen, I'd like this.
I don't know, because I'm not that sort of person, really. I have no preference.
You liked your Drake in Eve, didn't you? Super tanky ship.
Yeah.
Do you like the Warthog from Halo? I suppose we've got those with Cyclones. Do you have a favourite ship or vehicle in another game?
No, not really.
Zin is so neutral.
I am very neutral.
She is the most
I don't
neutral
like
about
things.
spaceships. Well, that's your partner is also very similar. Yes, right. Do you like Warthog? Yes, right. Actually, no, he loves the Warthog. Okay, so I'd like to see drone combat ship. I'd like to see a load more ground vehicles. Maybe a proper ground APC military APC light tank. There's a load of stuff I think they could do for combat ships and combat vehicles for sure. Expect to see a load of stuff during Fleet Week, and I'm excited for it. Starts at the end of May, 10-day event. 3.13.x, we're expecting hot fixes between now and Fleet Week. Obviously, one's been deployed, but expecting another one pretty soon. But 3.13.1, 3.13.2 sort of patches, slightly more than a hotfix patch, should be turning up that contains potentially Fleet Week, but also the Hercules C2 and M2, the Nova tank, ship-to-station docking, spawn lockers, a lot of quite tangible, meaty content compared to the 3.13.0 initial quite light release. I'm really looking forward to the Hercules and the tank together, because I want to mess around with the tank. Not a huge amount of tangible gameplay for ground vehicles. Are you looking forward to any of those features at all?
I think the tank will be cool.
Yeah, I know. Like, I want a proper cool ground vehicle that's a combat one. That I don't feel like it's just going to get instantly wrecked by a ship that goes overhead.
But I do wonder how they're going to implement gameplay for it.
I'd love to see ground assault missions where there's NPCs on the surface of planets with mounted guns, with their turrets and stuff, and they have their own vehicles, and they shoot me while I'm approaching in a tank. Bam, gotta assault that, and maybe hold it afterwards. Hold it as more waves come. Oh, that'd be so good. Do you know much about spawn lockers, Sin, and what they could add to the game?
I get what they are. They're going to prevent you from going into areas and having just masses of NPCs standing there doing nothing.
Okay, that's partly what it's going to be. The NPCs will go to an area and they'll despawn in an area where a player can't get to and spawn there, and that could lead to, potentially at this first implementation, the relaxation of green zones at stations and stuff, and potentially even landing zones. So you'll be able to, we're thinking, pull out your FPS weapons and just shoot, but there's going to be laws and restrictions, and then security forces spawn and deal with you. Maybe not a good idea to pull out your gun, but places like Grimhex, maybe it'll work pretty well for bounty hunters, because we need tangible PvP gameplay. You haven't experienced much in the way of problems with PvP, have you?
No, I think the biggest problems I had were tied to events so far.
See no threat.
So, well, the first one was the helmets, the Halloween helmets.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, obviously, I went searching for Benny Henge to get the helmet there, but obviously that brings you quite close to Grimhex. Go anywhere near Grimhex, people were just shooting at everyone.
Yeah, so for people that didn't know, you had to get 50 unique kills during a certain period of time around Halloween to get a unlock for a mask. It had to be player kills.
Yeah.
So some people were farming them by getting a load of people out of their ships and standing in front of a chain gun where you just go and kill all your own augmates, but some people were just doing just full-on murder everything they see. Some people were doing honor duels. And you had to do it either in the Gladius, I think, or the Scythe, maybe? But yeah, that was a really interesting event. I really liked that Halloween event because it got people playing the game. It's just they didn't think about the fallout of, well, now everyone's a murder magnet. And some people got so salty at people going, well, you're just murdering all your augmates. And some people got so salty at, well, you're just murdering everyone. You can't really please everyone with those sort of things.
No.
Or anyone, apparently. But I genuinely thought that was actually gave reasons to play. Unlocks like that were great. Go to visit Benny Henge to get a mask, great. Get the Vandal mask for killing people, great. The other time you had problems with PvP, I remember, was Xenothreat.
Yeah, Xenothreat. People come along. I can kind of understand why they'd want to do it and why they thought it was a good place to do it. Because they're like, I'm essentially siding with Xenothreat. So, okay, fair enough. But in that case, I think that there should have been a mission for it, maybe. Yeah,
and they very quickly patched in some stuff to prevent the more griefy type of PvP behaviour in the cargo phase. I really liked PvP as turning up during the fleet battle phase.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty good fun, but the fleet battle phase was very short before they got rid of it. The cargo phase was just annoying because it was very little you could do to stop them from just going lol and blowing up a load of explosive cargo and it's going away. You go, okay, well, you're not getting anything from that. You can prevent me from doing this without pretty much anything I can do. Even if I had, 49 other ships here, you could turn up very quickly, attack a cargo ship and blow it up if it's got explosive cargo in and zoom off. You go, okay, great. GG. So that was annoying. But, I mean, hopefully lessons learned by CIG from this sort of stuff. Have you found any point yet, Zin, to trolleys and the Rock DS?
No, I can't even get a trolley out of the hangar.
Yeah, so there's problems with trolleys, and even if you could get them out of the hangar, there's very little point in them yet. Problems with trolleys. Rock DS, I think is a trash vehicle. I'm sorry, I just don't like it. It hasn't got any purpose to me at all.
I don't see the point of it. It's an odd one.
It's an odd one. I mean, maybe in the future there'll be gameplay that's associated with it, but I don't want them to build gameplay just because of that little vehicle variant. They've gone, well, now we need to build gameplay for this. This is going to take us an extra quarter. Yeah. The weird thing is if we do a long excursion in the Rock DS, we'd have to keep on switching position to fill up your oxygen. That's just so weird. But so next major patch is Alpha 3.14, which is actually not too far away now, end of June. As when we're expecting that live, although obviously 3.13 was delayed for 3 weeks, so bear that in mind. And we should start to see the sort of Evocati build with that early to mid-June. I suppose I want to highlight coming out in that is Orison and Crusader. So this is Crusader, first gas giant we've had in-game. We've got a placeholder for it at the moment. It was the first sort of area of space we had was around Crusader. We've got Port Olisar there, which may very well get replaced around at the same time that goes live. Some people think it's going to be blown up as part of the Nine Tails lockdown and stuff like that. But Orison there is the sort of floating cloud city above Crusader. And from what I've seen so far, this is the place I want to live in the Stanton system. What do you think of Orison and Crusader at this sort of stage, Sin, from what you've seen of the development?
It looks good. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a very pretty place.
It is pretty. And it's also going to have these massive shipyards as well. So capital ships are going to be able to come here to get fitted, and we might see some big Crusader capital ships go on sale at some point as well.
It would be nice to see more, I suppose it would be shells of ships.
Being built.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. To make the world feel more living, there's actually manufacture and that sort of stuff going. It is only in 3.14. We're only getting the first version of Orison though, and they are going to be adding more to it later in the year. And along with that, hopefully we'll see something of the Space Whale statue, because we do know that they want to put a Space Whale in the game. Don't know when that's actually happening. The actual living Space Whale that we'll see on the surface, breaching the surface of Crusader.
I mean, obviously, they've been working on the statue.
Yeah.
And there's also been work on a mascot,
costume, yes.
Costume, yeah.
Derpy whale, we're assuming. Yeah. I hope it's got its tongue out. Yeah, so we know they're working on animals as well. We know they're working on, a space cow and the boreal stalker, which is the Microtech Yeti. We're not really sure exactly when these are coming into the game, though. AI in Star Citizen is derpy at best at the moment, and the thought of them having some tangible animal AI and a cool model and animations for it that's not janky as hell is hard to believe. Like, it, in the short term anyway. Like, yeah, longer term, I'm sure they're going to have great AI and they're going to have great NPCs and this sort of stuff. But could we see that sort of stuff this year? Maybe. If it's a focus, you could see it by the end of the year, like some animals in game. But, I mean, I think that's a little bit too much to hope for at this stage. What do you think? Do you think that it's possible?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think they're ready for it yet.
Yep, I agree with that. Medical gameplay is something they're ready for, though, and the start of that in 3.14 as well.
Mm-hmm.
That might be interesting because, obviously, previously we've relied on the sort of like Cutlass Red. Oh, let's spawn back here when we're doing filming of something. This is really useful. But we might have the situation with medical gameplay in 3.14 that we go, Zin, I'm down on the floor. Zin, pick me up. Zin, Zin. I'm dead as well. Oh, I think that would be really good when we have downs and getting knocked down and being able to get up your teammates like you can in Apex or Battle Royales, effectively. That's going to be super useful. Do you think that they'll have insta-deaths as well as knockdowns and bleed-outs, or everything will be a knockdown and you can choose to get up?
It would be silly not to have insta-deaths, but I guess it would be a case of how much damage has been inflicted.
Yeah, okay. That's a good idea. So you've got like a secondary health bar of, yeah, if you take this much damage, you just get knocked down and you're bleeding out, and you need to get help, or you need to jab yourself with a medipen or stabilize yourself in some way. But if you take this much damage and beyond this, you're not getting back up, mate.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I like that. Hopefully there's a choice of, let me just respawn now if I want to, even though I'm downed.
Yeah, like a press to respawn sort of thing.
Do you know much of the Death of Spaceman original plans and now the new plans?
Not really.
So, very, very briefly, the original Death of the Spaceman plans were, there's mortality in the game. When you can die, perma-die in the game, although you can respawn a good few times before you perma-die. You would like start to see damage on your character and that sort of stuff as they keep on bringing you back, was the original idea. But once you're dead, you'll have to create a new character, but you can transfer your assets and stuff to your new character. And there could be some sort of death tax, and you'll lose reputation and things like that.
Yeah.
There'll be deterioration. You're not going to want to die is the idea. Risk and reward is important. The newer idea was slightly more similar to Eve in the fact that you are effectively a clone, or you can be cloned. They keep your clone DNA, and every time you die, they sort of transfer your brain over to your new clone, but your DNA deteriorates.
Yeah.
And it's basically the in-law reason for why you're allowed to respawn repeatedly. But you can get rescued, and that won't waste one of your lives. But if you die too many times, you're dead. And there might be ways of refreshing your DNA. There might be medical insurances and stuff you can take out. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think people are going to get really stressed with, oh, my character's dead, what's the point?
I don't think the whole clone thing goes with the Star Citizen lore.
No, it doesn't. It's very much an Evism, which they've gone, well, actually, we need to gamify this system.
So it's kind of like a non-canonical sort of thing that's kind of necessary for the game to happen.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, they haven't set it 100% in stone.
Mm.
So it could change. Their current thinking was, we're probably going to do degradation of DNA and cloning.
Yeah.
But what about when it happens? What about the actual mortality, risk and reward stuff? Do you think that's a good idea to drive gameplay? Or do you think that's dangerous?
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah?
Yeah, people will just go mad if they think that they can get away with stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Do you like the fact that Eve is a harsh mistress and really, really sort of like, I hate you sometimes, Eve?
Yes and no. I don't really want to play Eve. So, no, I don't like the fact that it's a harsh mistress. But, yes, I'm glad that something like that exists.
It certainly drives the economy and drives... and that's important, because otherwise the game will be lame. Talking about, well, segueing back to medical gameplay and hospitals in... Yeah. See how I did that?
Yeah, you did that really badly.
I recently went to hospital. In fact, yesterday at time of recording. Was it yesterday? Or was it the day before?
Day before. Tuesday. It's Thursday today.
All blurred into one. I don't date the video, and I did as well. So, yeah, I have had problems with my side for a while, just thinking it was IBS, and I had to go to hospital to have a variety of tests, and they put a camera in my bum. I had a colonoscopy, which I hate hospitals. They cannulised me because they wanted to give me sedation, and I went, no, not having sedation. even though they still cannularized me, which I hate. And at one point, I was going to run away from the hospital. I was thinking, I could just get changed and just go. I don't need this. But it was, other than being originally frightening, it wasn't bad at all. It wasn't even beyond uncomfortable. It was a little bit uncomfortable, the whole procedure. In and out in like 25 minutes. Great doctor. Made him laugh while he was giving me the colonoscopy, which had a camera jigging around in my gutty works, which was weird. He showed me my appendix and that I have a beautiful colon. So I want people to know that on the internet. If you have any health issues or worries, talk to someone and don't be embarrassed.
At least you know that you've got a beautiful inside.
Yes, I was told. They said they wanted to use my... because I wasn't sedated. They wanted to use my stuff for training for the nurses and students, if that was all right. I was like, yeah, go ahead, mate. It's beautiful. I should have live streamed this. And then he told me that they had someone on Facebook live stream it before. I was like, oh, wow. I didn't know that was an option. It was good. No, it wasn't good. I'm glad I had it done. Oh, I want people to know this actually as well. So when I was preparing for my procedure, you have to have some pretty strong laxatives which clean you out, yeah, like totally. And you're not allowed to eat for a huge period of time. Yeah, so I'd stopped eating for 24 hours. Zin came online and went, oh, really fancy a curry in the morning.
I still really fancy a curry.
For breakfast.
It was like 10:30, 11 a.m, wasn't it? I was like, oh, I really fancy a curry.
It was a double whammy as well because I was so hungry, like so hungry that it hurt. Yeah, and I'm on keto. So even if I could eat, I wouldn't be able to have a curry, really. I was genuinely annoyed at you. It's like, ooh.
I was really, it completely slipped my mind.
Yeah, of course it did.
Yeah, no, it
No,
did.
of course it did. You have been recently driving though, haven't you, Zin?
You say recently been driving. I had 1 2-hour lesson a week ago.
You're glad you did it though, didn't you? I suspect you didn't want to do it before you'd done it.
No, I was shitting myself. I was so nervous. I was like stomach in knots sort of thing. Couldn't eat, couldn't concentrate sort of thing. Got into the car with my driving instructor and the first thing I said was, I'm really nervous.
Yeah. Well, at least you're honest. He was a gamer and you got on really well with him, didn't you?
So turns out that my driving instructor has played Star Citizen before. And when he asked me, what do you do for a living? My first response was, oh, I make videos for YouTube. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's really good money in that, isn't it? I was like, yeah. He's like, what do you make videos on? And I was like, because, most normal people out there in the world don't really know what Star Citizen is. They may have heard of it.
That scam game. That scam game. I know about that. The Christ robots.
But yeah, I was like, oh, a game called Star Citizen. He was like, oh, I know that game. I was like, oh, great. I don't have to explain myself.
You probably do have to explain yourself more.
It was great because I could talk about it and he'd know what I was talking about, basically.
Yeah. Now, I'm glad you got on with him and I'm glad you're not anymore as scared of your driving lessons, which is why Zin has been spurred on to do a load over like a week or two pretty soon, aren't you?
Well, it's how I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do like a lot of people, I guess maybe younger people would do like 2 hours a week. I basically have a week, which is the week coming up to hopefully Fleet Week, of literally 2 hours a day for 5 days.
PC building for Star Citizen. I don't recommend many people buy a PC specifically for Star Citizen at this stage. If you want to get a PC for other games as well as Star Citizen, great. There are streaming services and stuff as well. GPU prices are so expensive at the moment, and hard drives are probably going to go in a similar way because of sort of cryptocurrency stuff. There's a new cryptocurrency Chia, which is going to make use of hard drive space, which could mean that hard drives go up a lot of money. Not the best time to buy hardware. And if you are going to buy a pre-built, because you can get them a lot cheaper. Anna, the voice actress that does the new Babbage AI and Rowena Dooley from Xenothreat, had a sort of interview with Cobra TV a little while ago. And on that, what she thought originally was jokingly said, we're going to buy you a PC. Later on, they went, come on, we want to buy you a PC. Let's go fund me this. And the Cobra Force will get you a PC, and some of the other Star Citizen community also helped. And she got a PC bought for her by the Star Citizen community, and she was very clearly sort of like against it to start with, like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to take your money, but thank you. And then she realised I was serious, and it wasn't like, no wasn't an option when it came to, we want to buy you this, Anna, we want to play it with you like once. So what did you think about all of that? What did you think about them buying the Star Citizen community and the Cobra Force buying her a PC?
I think it was a bit... I understand where they were coming from, what they wanted to do, why they did it. I think she was probably the wrong person for the attention.
How so?
My first reaction was, why doesn't she just build her own PC?
I think some people were, but I think if you see the interview, she's a pretty cool dude. She's a gamer. She's got her own YouTube channel and she plays games. And I think that her having a gaming PC would allow her to do more that she probably hadn't thought of for her sort of gaming channel. And I think that people genuinely want to play with her. She's a proper cool geek, and I think people want to play with her.
The thing is, I do get the whole, if people want to give her money to buy a PC, again, it's their money, they can do what they want with it. I wouldn't have donated personally.
And you didn't?
No, I didn't.
I think it was a cool thing to do for someone. It was a nice thing to do. It was quite sweet. The Star Citizen community do stuff like that all the time.
But then I saw her PC and frankly I wasn't that impressed with it, so...
Oh, yeah, so with the money that had been donated, I think it was like £1,300, Anna asked me if I could help price one up, so I chucked her one from a company that I use. Zin did not like the case that I had chosen for it.
No, bad case.
She says it has bad airflow.
It has bad airflow. So the PC that I now use for working, I originally put the components in one of those cases, and my PC overheated. Like, the airflow in that is non-existent. Please do yourselves a favour. Don't ever buy that PC case for a performance PC.
Yeah, you're not... What was it? The Co-Link... What's one of the Co-Link ones?
Co-Link Stronghold.
You did not like the Co-Link Stronghold?
No. There's no airflow in that case. It's rubbish.
Sure, it's fine.
I'm sure it's fine. I ended up buying myself a Corsair 4000D airflow. I didn't want to spend too much on the case, but I also wanted a case that was fairly low noise and good airflow. I looked at a Gamer's Nexus reviews of stuff, and that one...
Steve Burke, good chap.
I don't know him personally, so I'm sure he is.
I think I've messaged him once when he was very small.
But I actually really like this case. It's a really nice case. It's got, like, everything about it is well manufactured and thought out, designed. Mate, don't get the Co-Link Stronghold, please. It was a horror to put the PC in as well. For my setup, it was not optimal. It was suboptimal.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, Anna, with your computer. And thanks to the generosity of the Star Citizen community for doing that. That's pretty cool. So, other game stuff. We've just finished our playthrough of Conan Exiles. Or just about to finish.
Yeah.
Like, we sort of have finished.
I need to summon an avatar and escape the exiled lands.
But we've got all the parts for that and everything, so
yeah,
we're sort of ready to do it. We've just been lengthening out the end of that because we're trying to work out what to play next. More recently, we've done like an eco playthrough and stuff like that as well.
Did Valheim.
Valheim was so good. Eco was fun. It's just wasn't a challenge.
Yeah.
Although we're planning to, I think on the 12th of May, start doing some more interesting eco with Salty Mike. And we've got other stuff that me and Zin are planning to do, like Journey to a Savage Planet, which she started, which is great. It Takes Two, as well as a few other games. If anyone's got any suggestions for things that me and Zin can play, sort of in our spare time, some of which might get recorded, some of it might go out to channel members or streamed, but partly for our own enjoyment, then please chuck us suggestions. I'm
looking forward to getting back into Journey to a Savage Planet. That was very enjoyable, very humorous.
Sort of Borderlands... original Borderlands 2 sort of levels of humour.
Before they started trying too hard.
Yeah. What was the other games? I'm looking forward to Resident Evil Village soon, although I'll be watching probably your boyfriend play that through.
Yeah, I won't be playing that either. I don't do scary games really.
I think I'll watch Kit play it through and DC play it through because that makes sense. We do need to check out Elite Dangerous Odyssey at some point. Anything else to say, Zin? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, not really.
We're preparing ourselves for 3.13.x Fleet Week. Really excited for that. Really looking forward to that. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you watching this pretty long video. I'm going to get Zin to cut it where she can. I'm sure we talked about random bullshots here.
When you went off, you just keep going off. And I'm like, I'm going to cut that. Yeah. I'm going to cut that.
Yeah, no worries.
Cut that.
These are pretty raw, and you don't have to agree with us on the stuff we talk about here. I mean, you can have entirely your own opinion. We reserve the right to change our minds. So don't go, oh my God, they're monsters. That's probably true, but we're happy to change our minds and evolve them as going forward. And a lot of the stuff we talked about here is raw, unformed opinion. And if you've got counterpoints or anything that you think we should take a look at or think about, chuck it in the comments below, and it's appreciated. And if you'd like to see more Star Citizen content like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Maybe click on that little Joiny Boy button. Oh, Joiny Boy. I'll click on that. That sounds lovely. Oh, say goodbye, Zin.
Goodbye, Zin.
Oh, you're such a card.
Aren't I?
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah. Do you have questionable taste in anime? Do you not want internet pirates looting your internet search history? Do you want a way to have more accessibility to the internets from more countries? Or is your security and privacy important to you? Well, get NordVPN. I shill for them and you should use the code BoredGamer or the links below for a discount. Try it out. It's like a fleet of escort ships making sure your internet experience doesn't get griefed. We have the April ship giveaway as well for a Mercury Star Runner. The ship is extremely multi-role and should be part of any budding citizen's fleet. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning one is comment on any of my videos made during the month. A random commenter will take that prize. These giveaways and the wider channel content are made possible by people that go the extra mile by becoming a Patreon or a YouTube channel member with that join button and the links below. And me and Zin, the editor for the channel, are now trying to put out regular exclusive content as a thank you. We'll also be asking you in those videos to help shape the channel with making decisions about what content we do and how we do it. Please consider joining if you're really enjoying the content. It really does help. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more Star Citizen content, and I'll see you in the verse.